Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to take a look at BAJA, California, or BAJA, BAJA. I do not know how to say this, but loading in with the California pictures, we do have that already in the game, so that is convenient.
If you consider resigning now, I might give you...
No problem, I'll do it.
200 gold for your troubles.
Wonderful, 200 coin, just what I wanted. But you can see, just from loading in, it looks very similar to the other California map that already exists. And that would be because, well, it's kind of obvious, right? It's a dry, sort of hot region, and it's coastal, as we all know. And the coast is interesting. It plays a big part in this. There's two coasts, one for each player, similar to the Yucatan. And we'll get on that in just a moment. But let's take a look around. And now I can sort of explain why sorry, I lost my train of thought there. Now I can explain why the coast is good. You see this? This is kind of cool. This is big. This is something the other California map does not have. This is what separates it and makes it distinct. This giant sort of wall that, you know, divides the map in two, quite literally, with the trading route. Let's follow the trading route. Okay, so at the very bottom you have an entrance here to the other side of the, you know, where to your opponent. And it separates the map. That's one way in. Then let's follow the trade route a bit more. Here we have the middle. You have another entrance. This is the middle entrance, and then follow the trading route a bit more. This is the final entrance. There it is. And what this does, the water in combination with this wall makes this map sort of, it incentivizes a boomy style, which is something, I must admit, Garja's maps, at least the very brand new ones that have been released very, very recently. Oh, that was some advert or commercial, whatever you want to call it, in my other tab in Google Chrome. Like, all of his maps have been sort of very aggressive styles, and all of the videos will be up on the channel over the next couple of days, and you'll see that. But this one, no, this is, you know, more boomy. The fact that you have your own pond, which is sort of more defendable, and the fact that there are actually, you know, quite significant, well, more fish in here than on Yucatan. It makes it, you know, it's bigger. The water's certainly wider than on Yucatan. It basically is giving you more room to actually boom. And you can sort of wall this up here. You can wall this, and your opponent won't be able to get in. You can guarantee raids won't be coming from this direction. And for those reasons, it's you can play boomy. But there's also enough resources on the map to have a more standard approach as well to play land. And I would argue that actually, because you only have this one starting hunt, this one's actually spawned very, very close, which is, well, to be fair, the other one's fairly close as well. I thought they were a bit further away from having spawned this map a few times, but that may not be the case. Anyway, the point I was going to make is I'd argue that, well, you do have one hunt, but the other hunts are, you know, quite far away, and so are the coin mines. And because of that, it means you can actually play a control style. If your opponent, you know, it might be difficult because your opponent is obviously going to be on the water, but I'm saying that the food is further enough away to actually do that. To sort of control those hunts, sit on top of them, not let your opponent have them. And furthermore, like, the interesting thing, not only is it defensive wall, but let's say you're Cyan attacking purple, you could wall this up. You could literally stop your opponent, like, deny him access to this side of the map. That is really cool. That is so cool. Like, no map in Age of Empires 3 has this dynamic just yet. And I'm very glad that there's a trading post going through the middle here. It stops you from sort of walling this up entirely. When I say no other map has had this dynamic, I mean that's not strictly true. Maps like, say, was it Indochina, which is a standard map for some reason. Oh my god, I hate that map so much. Like, I'm so glad this trading post goes through the middle, and like that stops you from walling up entirely, because on Indochina you just can wall up entirely, and it's so lame and dumb. What's the other one? Something like Orinoco. Yeah, that's the one. So they have been done, but they're not standard maps. They never see play in 1v1. I'm happy that there is a map like, you know, that has this cool feature sort of involved, and it'll be fun. Let's talk about resource distribution. What do you get? Well, aside from the starting resources, you do indeed get there are, you know, 8 smallish pronghorn herds scattered around the map. You know, we could count them all. And there's the bighorn sheep as well. There are 8 pronghorn herds, and then between 5 and 6 bighorn sheeps, Gaia says. With regards to the mines, we have 8 silver mines, lots of trees, and 18 shoals of fish per side, that is. and also 3 whales per side. So that's what you're getting, and they are this map does space them quite far away from each other. The spacing is consistently quite nice. Food doesn't spawn next to another food or another gold, generally speaking. So each location has something new in it. Yeah, lots of generous amount of resources as well. Can play a standard approach, as I mentioned. And you also, like I said, starting resources, as we mentioned, we've seen those. But you also get 2 berries, I guess, is worth pointing out. And the final things to talk about before we move on to the trading posts are the treasures. So you start with 20 coin, or not necessarily. 2 level 1 treasures that are very easy to get. So that now this is what I call a standard map now, because it has you have access to a trading post. You have access to the small starting treasures for early hunting dogs, and you have access to fairly consistent hunts and mines. So as I said, standard map. You can you play a variety of all civilizations are viable on this map. Mostly, some may be better than others due to the water, but we won't go into it. So it's a standard map.
¿Cuál es su comando?
Indeed, Mr. Spanish Man. And the rest of the treasures on the map are sort of all level 2, the kind you'd get on, say, Great Plains. They're all, well, yeah, no, you can get that on Great Plains, I suppose. It's sort of the 4 cow treasure, but, like, having looked at this a lot, they're all very Great Plains-esque style treasures, except the cougar ones, I must say. But, 95 wood, I believe that's only 80 on Great Plains, but essentially the same thing. You can see, the kind of things, we'll sample some of the things, 60 wood there. So, by no means the most treasure-rich map, I say Hudson Bay in Arkansas. Certainly Hudson Bay. But, good Great Plains style treasures. Now, the final thing to talk about, yes, there are 3 trading posts, and it was kind of simple there. And then you've got Navajo settlements. What exactly do they give? Are they going to see any play? Well, let's bring them on screen right here. Their unit, we'll bring in with the unit, is Navajo Rifleman. Not a very good unit, I must say. Not because, well, it's a bad unit. It's just a bad unit. We won't even look at the cost. It's a bad unit. It's 11 range damage is very, very low for a skirmisher. And clearly it is a skirmisher. ×2 versus heavy infantry, ×2 versus ranged cavalry, and the rest of the multipliers. It sacrifices its attack damage for hit points. And as I've mentioned many times, you don't need that many hit points in a unit that sits at the back, which you kite with. That is usually quite well protected by pikemen or, say, dragoons to force cavalry down or scare them off or whatever you want to say. So it's just not very good at doing its job because it has its stats the wrong way around. And also it just costs wood, which is, as we've said, the slowest gathering resource and the most expensive to upgrade. And for that reason it's bad as well. Nothing more to be said. Unlikely to see any play at all. Navajo Weaving. All military units gain 5% more hit points. Quite expensive, but by no means the most expensive upgrade we've seen it from a native village. Is unlikely to see play early game, but if you do end up, say, building a Navajo settlement, indeed, to get this, fishing boats gather 20% faster, for quite a modest cost, you might definitely get this at some point in the game, super late on, when that 5% could be really good, and this could be a really insignificant amount of resources, depending on how many villages you have. The final upgrade is Navajo Shepherds, and herdable animals fatten 30% faster. And, of course, Indian equivalents and Japan for shrines, etc. are mentioned as well. Now, there just aren't any livestock on the map, and livestock are just inefficient to train. They take far too long to pay off, so unlikely to ever see that being played at all. And then the final 2 upgrades that I didn't mention are just the standard ones. They, of course, increase the stats in the various different ages for their unique units. But that is me done on this map. Leave a like if you enjoyed the video. Give Garja some love. Absolutely, all of his maps are wonderful. Aesthetically, geographically accurate, and they all have a cool dynamic that make them unique and separate them from other maps. They're not just, reskinned versions of other maps. They all have a cool dynamic. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.